All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Modern Brown Men. I'm your boy Umrit.
It's Mook.
Mook, it's Mook, bro. Stop saying
Go
Mook.
ahead,
This guy, bro.
Mook.
But tonight we got a special guest, man. Tonight we got Amiraj, owner or founder. We can say owner or founder with Grinder Abroad. We got Amiraj. Welcome yourself to the audience, man. People that might not know, give us a quick background who you are, and yeah, man.
Yeah, I'm born and raised Edmonton. We do residential and commercial real estate sales. I'm a partner at GSB Luxury Homes with Grinder Brar and the founder of Global Real Estate Masterminds. Been at it for 9 years, and just plugging away, bro, trying to do what we can do and trying to make something of ourselves. So that's pretty much it.
We've been trying to get a podcast out with you for a while now, bro. I swear it's been a year, bro. I think that's the first time I reached out to you. I was like, bro, let's get a podcast out.
Yeah.
I think the first time we saw like all the flashy stuff you guys had going on with you. Yeah. I'm like, yo, Grinda's pulling up in all these luxury cars. I'm like, bro, who are these people?
Yeah.
Hold on, let me message him real quick. But
No, I know it's good things take a long time, right?
They do, bro.
It's good that we got something in, man. But I know everybody has busy schedules, but it's good. I'm happy to be here. At least talking to people, trying to give them a insight of how our operations are and what we think. And again, like we're in the middle of our journey too, right? So it's cool.
100%.
Sometimes you document certain things, you look back and you see how far you've come, and and still got a long way to go, but it's good.
No, man. Thank you for coming out, man. Taking your time. One thing that we wanted to get at you was I was doing a little bit of research on GSB Luxury Homes. I saw it was originated in 2006 actually.
Yeah.
Right. So tell me how that all molded, or even working with your partners and the team and everything. So was this something, a family driven business that got you into it, or like what got into real estate? Because nowadays, like everybody wants to do real estate. Like you get a real estate license, get a real estate license.
It's like OnlyFans.
Yeah, it's pretty much like real estate fans, like OnlyFans for dudes.
Yeah. No, so Grinder started in 2006.
Okay.
He was 18 years old, and I started in 2017 March. And basically, I was 20 years old. I was in university, and I just came back from Scottsdale, and I'm like failing all my classes. And I'm like looking, and I'm, when in university you go and put classes in your shopping cart, and then I'm looking at it, and then one day I was like, fuck this. I'm like, I'm not gonna go back. Like I don't want to go back at all. And I just came back from Scottsdale with some of my cousins, and one of my cousins there was a real estate agent in Vancouver. And he was telling me, he's like, oh, I just made 20 grand. And I'm like sitting here. I'm like, how the fuck is this guy making 20 grand sitting here? And, like he sold a house or something, right? And I didn't understand. And it just, I never thought about it that much in that process. But when I got back, I had a summer school class that I was supposed to like do some stuff while I was away on vacation. I didn't do it. I didn't even go to the final exam. And then, basically I dropped out at that time and just pursued real estate and kind of cut everything off too, right? Because I feel like, in my 20s, or early 20s, I put a lot of pressure on myself because you're always trying to strive to do something, but when your reality really sucks, you're like, what the fuck am I actually doing, right? Like something's got to give, something's got to change. So I had to make some sort of adjustment and pivot in the right direction, right? So that's kind of what it was.
Yeah, I mean, what the one thing that we kind of spoke before the pod too, like in our 20s, bro, it's like we put this unrealistic expectation on ourselves, bro. Like whether it's societal pressure, whether it's pressure that we think within our culture, we got to have our life figured out by the time we hit 30, bro, you got to be married, your kids, you planning on kids, you got a house and everything, because that's what the narrative is, at least, or that's what our parents expect us to have everything figured out by then. So now we're almost like burning ourselves out in a way, but like, okay, I got to have everything figured out by X, Y, and Z.
I think it's a double-edged sword, right? Pressure creates diamonds, and like the person that has to have the most pressure on you is yourself. If you're not the one having the most pressure on yourself, like you're not gonna, in my opinion, no other voice matters, nobody else matters. And unfortunately, in our community and maybe in our society, the pressure is put on the wrong things. And I think one thing is self-development, right? Like you're seeing all this AI stuff come out, and people are able to develop agents. And they're able to do certain capabilities, right? The human mind is the same thing, right? Like, what are you inputting into yourself on a day-to-day basis to make yourself better? And I think the emphasis needs to be more on that rather than, get married, go to school, do all this. Because, the guy that's 26 that is getting married, he might get divorced at 36, and sometimes the guy that gets married at 35 never gets divorced, and lives a whole life with his wife, right? So you never know what it is, and good things take time, like we were saying. And I think the thing is finding that pressure and putting it on yourself is very important.
But one of the things I have seen though nowadays, what is success though? That unrealistic expectation. Because thing is, we're all in our 30s, right? But people don't realize, they expect in a couple of years.
Let's say early 30s. Let everybody.
Early 30s. But you know what I mean? It's like people think within a couple of years, I gotta have, a couple $100,000 in my bank. Like that success gotta be within that couple of years.
Yeah.
They don't understand the longevity of what it actually takes to even comprehend that return on investment that you have put into yourself.
Yeah.
But it takes, as you said, 9 years, 16 years, 20 years to build yourself up to a point where you can reap the rewards. Because even take for yourself example.
100%. Also, I think when it comes down to time, right, and being in a certain position, you have to stay there long enough for something to hit, right? And if you keep going at it every single day, something's going to give, some wall's going to fall, and you'll be able to overcome something, right? So I've seen a lot of people quit early. And I did this filter through my Instagram. I just went through all the people that I was following, because I just want to clean up my list.
Yeah.
And the amount of accounts that I seen, business accounts, construction, real estate agents, you name it, any type of business, last time they posted 2019, 2021,
Crazy.
Things like that. And I'm like, man, just giving up it sucks, because I think when I first started, I went 7 months without a deal, right? And if I was just fuck it, it is what it is.
Move on to the next one.
That's it. Yeah. But at the end of the day, once you pick something, you gotta live and die with it, in my opinion. And I look at that with partnerships, with relationships, everything. Like me and Grinder, and I have a partner out of Vancouver, Rob Groya. We bought a building in Calgary, and the going through the process of that taught us a lot about ourselves, about each other, about partnerships and things like that. But in business, the hardest thing is partnerships. You start to see in operating community that brothers will screw each other over, family members and all this stuff. But at the end of the day, we're coming in an age where we're not our parents. We're much more equipped, and we're able to execute on things a lot better, right? So, no, there's a lot of factors that go into everything. And I think going back to the aspect of success, I think if you wake up every single day and you're excited to do what the fuck you want to do, that's it. And another thing I was saying too earlier on the pod is that if you can wake up every single day and be yourself, I think that's the most important thing. And sometimes yourself is not that good. Sometimes it's really good. But as long as you're yourself and you know who you are, you can work on things, right? So
it's so true. And even when it comes to that, how we see the stats all the time when it comes to real estate agents, right? It's within that 5 years, 87% you usually end up quitting. I think that's what it is. And even the first couple of years, I think the median average, depending on obviously your work ethic too, obviously, but people don't make that much, right?
Yeah.
So it's breaking through that barrier. It's why is that number so high? Do you think it's just people just have that weak mindset? Man, in first couple of years, I only made 20 grand, man. Every year, I'm not even doing anything. And then they just end up quitting. Yeah. It's as you kind of alluded to, it's that fifth year could have been the year where you broke through. Now you're making 70,000 or 80,000, getting up to the, almost the 5-figure mark, right? Or 6-figure mark, sorry. So it's why do you think, obviously you've been in the business for a while now. You interact with them, you deal with them all the time. What do you think is a main kind of determining factor? These people just end up quitting. 87% is a staggering amount, man.
Yeah.
For people to be quitting within that time frame.
I think it comes down to obsession. Because at the end of the day, if you're not obsessed with what you do, you're not going to get great at it, right? So when you're obsessed with something and you're wanting to become great at something, you're going to do it by any means necessary, right? And I look at I'm nothing. We're just in our path, right? And we're on our journey trying to figure some things out. But I always look at guys like Elon Musk, where he made 175 million off PayPal. And then he took split that money in half, put one in SpaceX, put one in Tesla, and both were about to go bankrupt, right? And he had 40 million left, and he's either I could supply one company with all the 40 million and the other one will die, and then the other one will maybe make it, or I can split it into two and both might die or both maybe might make it. And now you look at the aspect of SpaceX is about to go public at a I think over a $2 trillion evaluation, right? And being able to see those things, like, again, that's a very big scale example, but if you start to kind of reverse engineer from there, is that if you just look at everything with obsession and just be like, I'm not going to quit and I'm just not going to give up, something's going to give. And what I look at is that at the end, I don't know, who knows how long we have, right? I want to live a fucking sick life. Like, I want to be able to go explore the world. I want to say that, hey, I did this. I was able to, start something from the ground up and make something of your own. And at the end of the day, nobody's going to give a shit about how much money you had, what car you drove, what house you lived in, doesn't matter. But at the end, this is all a journey for everybody to, live their true self. So that's kind of what it comes down to. And I think a lot of people, they just don't have a bigger reason for what they do. And when you wake up and you're like, the only thing you're worried about is a minimal task, then you're not going to make big achievements, right? Like, you have to attach yourself to a big task at hand and you reverse engineer it from there.
What also you were mentioning before, just like the type of partners that you start building with and all that sort. And like, there's something that Rich Paul said. He's like, I only work with people that have a good structure in their own life. Yeah. Right. And they're the right people surrounding themselves. So like we were just mentioning, like in your 20s, you're going through, kind of like easing off on life a bit, and then kind of like later at the 30s, you kind of like you're like, hey, I need to figure my shit out. Yeah. And part of it is just like associating with the right people in your circle, right? Especially. So like, how did you pivot in that regards, especially with dealing with business partners, but also in your personal life too? Like, hey, like the people that are in your circle are also going to be a reflection of your work as well. Absolutely. So then how did you pivot in regards to like the professional side and the personal side as well?
Yeah, and to be honest, like for me, there's even when I before I went into real estate, I was in a very bad spot mentally, right? And I had like this trip. I smoked weed one time, and everything hit me all at once. It's like, your life basically sucks. Like, I went down this whole portal of being like, your life sucks. You haven't done shit all, and I'm like 18 years old or 17 years old going into university. Yeah. And then when I was on this aspect of like down this road, I was like, when the high wears off, I'll be fine. I'll be back to normal. But when everything kind of settled, the next day I still felt fucked up and like I had anxiety. And I'm like, ever since then, like every single day I would do something, and I'm like, man, this is like, something's not right. Like I fucked my life up. Like I didn't understand what was happening to me. Yeah. But what really happened to me was that it brought me down to such a low point and kind of exposed everything that my life was and said, hey, listen, look at this and you got to figure this shit out. So that was the turning point of me, being pushed to the point of where like you almost hate your life. Until you don't feel that pain, you're not going to make a change, right? And that's what happened to me, at least. And that guided me towards this direction. And then that's when I kind of started looking into self-development, because when I was doing the real estate course, I would listen to Tony Robbins, and like then I'd started reading. I started listening to podcasts, things like that. And what now, like reflecting, hindsight's always 20/20. I didn't realize that I was preparing myself to go into a partnership and being able to how to understand how to deal with partnerships and things like that, and attract the right people, right? Because you attract who you are at the end of the day. And then by the time I was like, I think I was 4 years into real estate. I met Grinder early. I met Grinder like maybe when I was 23. But we didn't officially start working together till I was 25. But like as soon as that came along, he has a heart of gold, and he tells me that, hey, like I see your intentions, they're so clear. Like I would, and me and him have this conversation every day about this aspect, but he poured into me quite a bit because he saw someone that like he like a little brother. So in that time, like being able to understand like kind of how to attract certain aspects. Obviously, you're not going to get the partnerships right on the first try. You're not going to be able to pivot the way you need to pivot, but putting yourself in that position to attract that type of person into your life makes a big difference.
It does, man. And I think too, as well, is you got to have some sort of standard as well that you hold for each other. The thing is, like, there's going, like, as you said, bro, like self-doubt is such a weird thing, man. It's like, we underutilize this right here. Yeah. Like our mindset, man, like when it comes to this, anything you do in life, like I tell people this all the time. We spoke on the podcast last time, right? There's not a thing that you can't succeed in, bro. Like, I'm a firm believer in that. I don't care what it is. Like, whether it's real estate, whether you're trying to be, I don't know, like, you know, like I talk about this all the time, whether I came here, in 06, and I didn't play ball until, like, I came here, which was, like, grade 9, grade 10. But one of my main goal was to make a damn basketball team. I knew I wasn't good, but the thing is, but if you keep practicing every day, bro, I got to a point where, like, there's nobody that can mess with me. And even to this day, I have this confidence because I put in that work. So it's like, these are small examples. It's like, I wasn't training to be a professional athlete.
No.
It's just proving yourself that you have the capability of accomplishing everything you put your mindset to it. If your goals are lazy, that's a different aspect, right? Too, right? So it's like, for you guys, how do you guys set that standard for yourself and hold each other accountable? Like, okay, we have this culture set up for our firm or our brokerage, and this is how we will live. And how do you guys set that standard for yourself?
To be honest, it's all by leading by example, right? Like, and at the end of the day, like, even going through, like, real estate, right? At the end, no matter what brokerage you're with, what you're repping, what flag you have, it all comes down to sales and evolution of real estate, right?
Yeah.
And sales is all about numbers and volume. And the way we set the standard within our team is doing the biggest deals, doing the most amount of deals possible, right? Even with Grinder, like, he's a sales machine. Like, that guy can sell anything, right? And being able to learn from him and implement certain things in our businesses and in different cities and different divisions, it's a game changer, right? Because he's been in the game for 20 years. He gave up on real estate 3 times.
Wow.
Before, right? And by the time, and he told me, he's like, I woke up at 32. And right? So when you start to see that aspect and you have that experience, and then you're able to look at someone in their 30s or that's 31 or 30 or 27, you can pour into them differently, right? And then your thought process changes and how you go about, reflecting your leadership on other people. So I think it's all leading by example. It's very rare, I think, you find people from different cities that are Punjabi that are working together in this aspect and the way we are. And what I realize is that we try to have the best impact as possible on each other, because at the end we're all trying to make sure that we all live good lives and we want to live them together, right? Because again, like, you don't want to go to the top by yourself. And we all have, you can call it ego, drive, whatever the hell it is, we all want to be number one. And that shows from our Instagram to the deals we do, to the cars we drive, to the way we talk. Like, we want to exemplify that in all angles of our life, right? So that's kind of how we come to that conclusion. But again, it takes it's not easy for someone to go in and pour into another human unconditionally.
Bro, it's very rare, bro. And one of the things that you kind of beautifully said was, it's like, I don't want to go on the top level, I want to go with my team.
Yeah.
Because you know what it is? Like, a lot of the times, no matter what it is, to be at your position, whether it's you, Grinder, whoever it is, and your other team members, to get to the stage where you guys are, man, that's hard work. It just didn't happen. It didn't be like, oh, he got lucky. That word gets thrown around a lot. He's lucky because he put in the work behind it, right? Like, luck was created. It wasn't 100%. Given, right? So it's like that mentality. It's like, you know what? If I'm going to eat, my whole team's going to eat.
100%.
And that understanding, a lot of the time, it doesn't come naturally, people, because we have this good side of ego and the bad side of the ego is, one side of the ego we spoke about before is how well do you want to push how much you want to push yourself. And the other side is, I want everything to myself.
Yeah.
Controlling that side, and actually, like, for me, it's easy, but a lot of people, they fight that battle. Yeah. It's like, nah, I want everything. But the fact that you guys have that, like, no, like, we're a team.
Yeah.
It ain't, no, you're A1 or AB, or there's none of that. There's no one below each other. But, like, if we uplift each other, that means we as a team grow, right?
100%. Yeah, and I think, like, the being a part of, like, again, like you were saying, the people around you are going to dictate what you're going to become, right? And that's your environment and everything. It's just being able to attach yourself to people that are genuine. And the one thing I looked at, and I've invested in Bitcoin, I invested in stocks, I've done all this stuff for the past 10 years, right? I own a commercial asset and things like that, but the biggest investment I ever made was people, the people that I got to invest into, and that's not just monetary, but it's also the time, the relationship, because in return, when you are in a culture where people are pouring into each other, eventually you start to see the growth in you. And like last night I went out with my buddy just to go around. It's been a long time, and I felt the change in myself, because I felt like I was like locked away for 2 months. I was in the gym working every single day, and then I came out, and then like you start to realize like your psychology starts to change on how you're looking at certain things. And I'm like, okay, this is what people talk about, because I think the two most important things in life are psychology and communication, right? And if you're able to reverse engineer those two things, like there's nothing you can't do. So
Yeah.
How did you learn, like, like you guys were just, talking about, is about ego? Because then, like what you're saying is just like ego, it can overpower as you're growing, right? And then it's just like, if you're not able to like control it on a basis, like, then it can be used in the wrong ways too. So then how do you, like, where did you learn that from though? Like being able to control the ego side, knowing when to use it, but also being humble in a sense.
Yeah. So to be honest, I don't know if I control the ego yet. Certain points I'm maybe egotistical, and it is what it is, right? Like certain times you're in bad positions and you're in a dark spot, and you need that ego to come out and be like, hey, I don't give a fuck what happens. I am who I am. This is who I am, and let it come out. But I don't know. Like I think you have to kind of allow things to be out there in society and get feedback from it. So if you are a certain way, you kind of get your feedback and then you adjust.
Yeah.
So for me, I think it's unfair if I say I've controlled the ego aspect or controlled the being humble or whatever people want to call it. I'm just trying, and as my life is progressing, certain things are getting more and more fine-tuned as I go. Because there's different stages in life too, right? Like in the beginning, people are going to be egotistical, and I sometimes think like if I was sitting on $50 million liquid right now, who the fuck, like how would I act? Maybe I wouldn't act like this, it's easy to say for me because I don't have 50 million sitting in the bank, be like, oh, I would be humble and this and this and this, but you truly don't know who you are until you have that. And I think real power is when you're capable of doing something and you choose not to do something.
No, it's so true. I think, one of the things I want to actually kind of pivot off to was, I remember you speaking earlier as well. Maybe it's a good thing, maybe it's a bad thing. I don't know. It just depends how you utilize it, I guess. Now, when it comes to the real estate side, right? You guys are always on the go, and like social media has taken such a prominent hold of how we put ourselves out there and the way we make relationships and how actually we grow as well. How have you seen the change, like from your, like obviously early from your 20s to now, that translation of having a presence where it's put in the right way? Because you can use it in the wrong way or you can use it in a positive way.
Yeah.
How have you guys seen that the growth of utilizing social media or even AI in your own lives, where it allowed you to kind of get your time back or even just, grow overall as a company?
I think social media is like time tells all stories, right? Like if you do something long enough, you can't fake certain things for certain time, like 10 years, right? And if you're doing something long enough, people will be able to tell what it actually is, right? And everything comes out on that standpoint. So with branding and social media, I think it's very important to be consistent, and at the end, it's a tricky game because it's not meant for everybody, right? Some people take it too close. There has to be some sort of barrier there. So, and it's easy to get caught up because sometimes you look at the next guy and be like, fuck, I've been like going at it for this amount of time, and this guy's like 2 years in, he's fucking doing way better than me. And you think, right? Numbers. But everybody's shit stinks, man. And you don't know what's going on in someone's life at the end of the day, right? And it's easy to be like, look at someone's situation and just see the positives and forget about the negatives. And you're sitting here and all you see is the negatives, and you're like, fuck, like, what am I doing wrong? So I think there needs to be some sort of barrier there. But I think with that aspect, it comes down to your ability to pivot, right? So even with AI coming out now and all this stuff, again, AI is not as crazy as people think it is, but it's also not as quiet as people think it is. Things are progressing very, very fast. And if you're in the mindset of being able to adjust and pivot, you'll be able to adapt to anything, right? But I think we're about to see the biggest change in humanity that we've ever seen, right? Like, think about our parents, man. Like, if you go back to when they were 17, 18 years old, to say that they would see an iPhone, they'd be like, what kind of fucking
Nokias?
Yeah, not even Nokias, bro. Like, in India, they didn't even have phones. You know, like, when my dad was born, having a bike was like having a Ferrari, you know? And
It's so true.
So like, it's very difficult to I think, like, if you're not in the mindset of adjusting and pivoting and growing, I think you're gonna have a very hard time.
Yeah, you know what's like two things that are integral part in being successful now? Not only the self-development side that we spoke about, it's like understanding to be the best version of ourselves. Because if we don't do that and we're reliant on, let's just say, social media for us to, I don't know, like have a business success. But then if there's no self-development, there's no, again, as you said, the communicative aspect of how you speak, how you present yourself, how do you walk into rooms. When that side don't get developed, you can use AI all you want, but it's not going to translate.
Yeah.
Because it's got to be cohesive effort. Right?
Yeah.
So it's like, I think a lot of the people get lost in that world as well. But like, damn, everything's easy. Let me just chat GPT this. Let me put this. Let me make a video like this. But when the real world hits, where they got to go out and actually meet and talk, now they can't.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And I think, like, even with AI, right? Like, the things that, like, majority of people are doing are basic things. And if you're not naturally a driven person, you're just going to keep doing basic tasks with AI, right?
Yeah.
AI's capability is in anything. Like, I think even with Chat GPT and all this stuff people are using, it's only as good as how you can communicate with it, right?
That's so true.
And if you can't communicate with it properly, like, it's not going to output as much as you want. And it's the same thing with a human being. There's two people that can go and talk to you and be like, and they'll come back with two different things. And one will be able to dig deeper into your psychology and into who you are, and the other one will be just surface level, right? But those, being able to be the one that digs deeper, it takes a lot of work, and it takes a lot of thinking. And like, and going back to Grinder, like, there's been certain aspects of where we've been in situations where he may know the answer, but he doesn't say it, and he'll put me in a position of, or even my other partners, like, to just think. Because the thing is that when you critically think about something and you focus, you're going to figure it out. You're going to figure out something's going to click. And being able to exercise that muscle in your head is very, very important, you know? And that's, I think a lot of people just go by their life and not think at all. That's why you have so many things that come up, and people find themselves in certain situations and they never thought about it in that process. But you need to be, whether you're under the influence of, I don't give a fuck, drugs or alcohol or anything, if you're able to think, you'll stop yourself from doing a lot of things. And I'm not a proponent of some of these things, right? And even me myself, I've cut back drinking like crazy, because it just, for me, nothing good comes out of it, right? But yeah, being able to have the ability to be a critical thinker is huge, and that's gonna change every aspect, right? Especially with AI.
And you know, like, kind of building up on the conversation, it's like, now a lot of the times, I know you want to speak on it too, we use, how would I say this? It's like, we baby our feelings in a way where we use any excuse that we can hang on to say that's the reason why I didn't succeed.
Yeah.
Whether we're using, hey, I'm depressed during this time, whether it's this, or right now I'm going through stuff, or I'm anxious, da-da-da-da. But thing is, like, you're going to go through ruts in life. Yeah. It's how do you wake up the next day? It's shitty right now. It's going to be real shitty. But you still got to wake up and do it. But now you see more now. We're clinging on to these, I don't want to say like people are hiding behind this mask of like this mental health, but to a certain extent they are. They're hiding behind this mask, but like, oh, I didn't succeed in this because, mentally doing da-da-da. No, that's just the course of life.
Yeah, I think everybody has mental health problems.
Yeah, 100%.
Straight up, like, if you like, everybody goes through this shit, right? Like, you think, you second guess yourself, 100 different thoughts go through your head, you know, and we all, I don't think there's one human that hasn't been there, right? Yeah. So I think it's important to focus on being able to have a voice and be able to communicate with someone, but if I was to, like, if I say how I truly feel, is that nobody gives a fuck. And nobody cares, because they have too much shit going on in their own life, right? if something was to happen to me tomorrow, and in 1 week, people's lives will resume like normal, right? We're a speck in this universe, and what we do and all this stuff, the time that we're spending and whatnot, it really doesn't matter that much. So just make use of your time and just do what you love at the end of the day, or do something that you're going to be proud of when you die, right?
Exactly.
That's how I look at it. So even this, and some people do have some situations that are going on. They have to take medicine and things like that. And that I'm not speaking to those people, but I think like on the everyday basis of like, making excuses for yourself, you're going through this or you're going through that, because I've been through that. I had a point where like I couldn't even, like I used to go play hockey outdoors and at the skating rink, and like I'd get anxiety attacks and I had to like just stop for like 20 minutes. I couldn't do anything. It's paralyzing, right?
Yeah.
But it's like that happened because my life was going in a certain direction, but because of that pain, I was able to pivot and understand and wake up and be like, hey, listen, I gotta figure my shit out. And that's what it comes down to, I think.
It's so true. I think it's like writing your own book.
Yeah.
Right? It's like writing your own book. It's only going to go the way that you're leading it.
Yeah.
Right? So if the ending is sad because you led it that way.
Yeah.
So it's like we only go as far as we lead ourselves. Yeah. At the end of the day, it's like leadership is such an essential part in every day in what we do. The way we lead and how we lead. Because that's what leads us to be not only great leaders, but like overall providers. Like we as men, we talk about that all the time. Like we got to provide for our family, but the essential of the way the human nature and evolution is, we are the nurture and we're the providers for our families. And when we don't hone in on that and understand what that means, we're always going to hide behind those excuses.
100%.
And this is not, me not knocking on the people that do go through true battles, that have certain issues that they go through. But overall, we do hide behind this mask too often now, where we baby our feelings. But like, oh, you know what? I didn't get this because X, Y, and Z. Man, no, stop making excuses for yourselves. Yeah. Like literally, that's what it comes down to. Because you wake up tomorrow, guess what? It's going to be shitty. Get up.
Yeah.
Do the same thing over a period of time. After a week or two, it's going to start getting better. As you said, you went away for like a month or two. You started working out. You drank less and all that. And now you understood, like, as you said, you speaking to your friend. You internalize it during that time. But like, wait, okay, I see that switch. That switch flips on,
Yeah. And it's always like, I think like, because I made excuses for myself. I've done,
everybody does,
like, and mentally you give this story to yourself, like, oh, this is the reason why this is not this and this and not that. At the end of the day, fuck it. Like there's like the things like are the gurus, that what they went through and shit that happened to them, and even 1984, the things that my parents were telling me, that was happening in India. Like, you just gotta fucking deal with it. And that's what I realized. I'm like, just as long as you're willing, you have the mindset to deal with something, you're gonna figure it out, and there's no other way about it.
Yeah. And let's kind of dive more into GSB Luxury Homes, man. One thing I want to talk about, everybody sees the big figures.
Yeah.
X million amount of sold, X like getting up to the billion marks and all that. Everybody sees those figures, right? It's like, nah, man, these people just putting out numbers. You probably get all that, but like, bro, there's no way you guys doing it. In Edmonton and Calgary, no way. You probably get that proponent of people doubting you as well and saying like, nah, this shit is fake. But speak on that more, man. Like, building up to that, how did you guys get yourself to a point where you guys, pioneers in your field of people that kind of look up to you guys? Be like, oh, you know what? Let's connect with Amiraj. Let's connect with Gurinder, because they're experts in this field now. Yeah. Like, building up to that point, like, how do you guys even put yourself in rooms to build up to the net worth or even the assets you guys have to get there, man? Because frankly, man, it's not easy.
Yeah, and I agree. Like, social media, because it doesn't show the progress, right, of what it took to make that post. And like, I go back, I think I have over 1,000 posts now. Grinder has close to 3,000 posts. Each one of those posts are intentional, and the amount of thought process, the amount of work that's gone into those posts is huge, right? So when that's compounding like that over years and years, about 20 years, and 9 years for me, certain things start to switch, right? And again, like, to post something online, like, it's open challenge to be like, hey, listen, like, these are facts, like, this is actually what's happening. And to the right person, it'll inspire them, and the wrong person, it'll piss them off. And we're meant to do both.
Yeah.
Because we want to inspire the right people and we want to piss off the wrong ones.
Hey, all publicity is good publicity.
That's it.
You want to be people mad at you, and you want people that support you too. So
exactly right. And what I realized is that the way I met Grinder was at an engagement party, right? And me and him are sitting back to back. And I used to follow him on Instagram. He had like 10,000 followers at that time, and he was the only realtor that had black posts on his Remax signs, right? And then he had the Aventador at that time, so he'd pull up in the Aventador, he'd take the car and he'd park it in front of his sign, and the sold have the sold sticker and whatnot. And I'm like, fuck man, that looks cool. So then I started inquiring and figuring out. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna put black posts, and then even with his luxury homes, I was like, I'm gonna put luxury homes in my name as well, because I just looked at inspiration like that, right? And someone told me, like, do you even sell luxury houses? And I'm like, and at that time, like, to be honest, I really didn't. But look at what ended up happening. Like I'm sitting back to back with him, and I turned around. I just talked to him a little bit and just said, hey, like, I see what you're doing. It's inspirational. I was stuttering and whatnot, and from that one touch point, I saw him like another time, and then by the fourth, fifth time, he's like, dude, let's do something together. Right? And that's, these little things matter, man. And I think
they really do.
In business, it really is a big thing. So even now, like, going back to the Instagram and things like that, right? And who knows who's watching your stories? Who knows who's watching your posts? Who knows who's going to watch this podcast? Whether it's 5 people or 500,000 people, it doesn't matter. But it just needs one right motherfucker to watch the podcast or see the post. That's it. And I think that's what people forget about, is that they're too scared to try certain things to look stupid, and you got to look dumb. You have to. You got to be cringe in the beginning. But again, you just need one thing to go right your way, and your whole life can change.
Yeah. Well, do you think there's like what you were just mentioning, like there's a level of, I guess you can call it a level of delusion, in that sense, like you want to see yourself, you kind of like imagine yourself in like 10 years down the road, right? So then that's why you kind of like put like in a sense of like, you make those mistakes and then you try to try and all that stuff. Like there's some people as well, they have that delusion, but they don't put in the work for it. So then they just like, hey, I'm just this person. But they have nothing to show for, right? So then where do you think that balance is? Because like, let's just say like, hey, like a kid sees like what you guys are doing, they see the luxury cars and all that stuff. So then they have that mindset like, hey, they might take shortcuts to get to where they want to be, right? Whereas for you guys, you actually put in the hard work and put in the dedication, all that stuff. So like, what message would you give to those kids, like in a sense, like, hey, there's much more behind these posts though?
It's tough, because at the end, it's like, I seen a video or interview of NVIDIA's CEO and owner, right? And he's like, if I knew what I know now, what it took for us to build this company to where it is right now, I would never do it. So it's like, if you go into something and try to figure out all aspects of like what can go wrong, what can go right, how it's gonna go, you're just never gonna fucking do it. And the reason why the people that think the least and just throw themselves into the situation are the ones that succeed the most, because they have no expectation and they're like, fuck it, I think this can work maybe, but I'm gonna fucking do it. And that's it. That's the difference. And that's when I was kind of like that a little bit too long. I used to think about the whole path of like, okay, if I go into this is what's gonna happen, this is what can happen, this is what's gonna go wrong, or whatever the case is. And I'd find myself immobilized, right, not being able to make a decision. And now it's just like, think less, operate better. And once you get into a situation, commit to it and see it throughout, because you can make a bad decision with 110% commitment and make it work. But you can make a right decision with 20% commitment, 50% commitment, and it will fucking fall to pieces.
And like, it's so funny that you say that, as like, just try. For the longest time, man, I used to be so scared of just getting into real estate, man. Like, cause like I wanted to build myself up to like, in my head, I had this safeguard. I'm like, I haven't got enough capital. I don't got enough capital. So for me, it held me back for a couple of years to actually get into building houses, right? But then you also have the proponent of people like, it's not the right market. Bro, right now it's not a good time. You hear it
Yeah.
all the time, but right now it's not a good time to sell, buy. It's never a good time for anything. Like genuinely, like when is it ever a good time to anything? It's a good time to just do it today.
Yeah.
If you have enough money or if you have the right people around you, be like, okay, you know what? Let me reach out to a couple people to kind of at least have that stepping stool where I can start. And after that, it's all just how well you how well you kind of, what's it called? What's the word I'm looking for? Pave the way for the next process to happen.
Yeah.
Right. So for you, let's speak on to early investors, because I just started my first house now, right? If some other kid or anybody in general, people are looking to invest in their first house, whether it's rental or whether it's buying, what's like the first thing you would say to them is, because we get scared away, but like, yo, it's not the right time to buy it,
I think the biggest thing is that everybody has an opinion, right? And you start to ask too many people, your judgment gets clouded, right? And even like certain things, you have to keep certain cards close to your chest, and you just have to know that and have the confidence within yourself that, hey, whatever the fuck I'm gonna get into, I'm gonna be able to figure it out.
Yeah.
That's it, right? Even like if I tell my parents, oh, I'm gonna do this and that, and they're like, oh, this is maybe not a good idea or something like that. Even though you're fully committed and you're gonna go do it, as soon as you hear that from someone close, let's say you're in the midst of the action of whatever's going on, you're going to start holding back punches.
Yep.
Right. And that same thing with your spouse. Like if you and your spouse don't have that relationship where, you tell her certain things and then there's certain doubt that's casted into your mind, it can be a bad thing. But again, it's a fine line, because sometimes the spouse is the one that tells you to stay away from certain situations, and it's the best thing, right? So it's all coming down, and how I look at it, it all comes down to human development, right? And being able to know when to be hard on someone and when to support someone, right? And like there's certain things I'm gonna do, and I'm getting figured out right now too. And my partner's in Grinder's like, man, he's like, fucking go for it, bro. He's like, I got your back. That's it. And that's all you fucking need to hear sometimes. And it could be the worst day of your life, right? Because that's happened to me. Like from September to December, we went through a very, very tough time. And sometimes the only thing that gets you by is just encouraging words from the people that you love. And that's why your environment matters. And you start to reverse engineer this whole thing. And it really starts to make a lot of sense. In the beginning, when I went into business, I'm like, fuck, man, how are people doing all this shit? Like they got hundreds of millions in projects. They're getting this going. They're living in nice houses. They're traveling everywhere. And you just start to realize that over time, you pick up more information. You start to understand things a lot better. You start to dictate your environment a lot better. You pick and choose where you spend your energy, and you start to protect who you are and grow who you are, right? So that's all I think it comes down to. And you can't let your judgment be clouded.
I want to get into more nitty-gritty details, man, if you don't mind. Now, let's say we're early investors we want to get into real estate, whether it's rental or building. Let's say some individual has saved up. I'll give you a couple of scenarios, and you say what will be the next step to go about it. Okay, let's say if someone has a couple of 100,000, let's say they have 200,000-300,000 saved up, compared to someone who has 100,000 saved up and all the way up to $1 million. How do you differentiate whether you want to go and get into rental or flip houses? Because you want to get to a point where the money's working for you. Where the rental properties, you know what, you have the $1 million, you get this investment going, and now the banks are more willing to offer you money because they see what your bank account holds as well. So given those scenarios, what do you think would be the best way for an investor to go, or is there a best way to go?
I think, and the reason why I went down the self-development aspect is because there's people out there with a lot less money that are doing a lot more than people with a lot of money. And just because the money is in your account doesn't mean that it's going to go that far. The guy with 50 grand in the account will do a lot more than the guy with 500 grand in the account sometimes. And that all comes down to what circles you're able to enter into, what type of knowledge you have, and how you're able to execute on that level, right? And use the least amount of money to have the most amount of outcome. So that's how I look at investing, right? So even flipping and rental properties and all this stuff, that is all how I look at it. It's all for the, let's say, the norm, because it's just to preserve their wealth, right? That's all it is. And I think if you think you're going to get rich off of buying rental properties, I don't think so. Flipping requires a lot of time.
It does.
Right? But again, if you're consistent with it and you develop a system that's fast enough, you might be able to overturn money pretty quick. And now you're seeing people go into the CMAC MLI Select is the reason being is because you can go into some of these projects and they say 5% down, but I'm going to just say 7%, right? On like a $2.3 million project and get 8 units, that your money's going far.
Yeah.
And the same people in Vancouver, Toronto, and Toronto, they're needing 20% to put down on a $1.5 million rental house. So you start to learn that, okay, the market here, you're able to take less money and go further here in Alberta than you are in other places. So you start to look for opportunities like that.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing in the stock market. You look for undervalued stocks, things like that. So yeah, again, with investing, I think it's not as simple as just rental properties and things like this. I think a lot of people, like in real estate, like this is the old way of doing real estate, and I think real estate's changing quite a bit, and more and more people are understanding that time is not on their side. So I don't want to wait 20, 30 years to get rich. I want to be rich fucking today.
Yeah.
And there's ways to do it. Yeah. And I'm not saying like I'm 10 years getting onto my 10th year going down this route, right? And something's going to give, like something has to give. But if for me to go and expect it in my second year and be like, I need to get rich now, at that time, I wasn't well equipped. But certain people are able to figure out because they can put themselves in different positions and different circles that allow them to get into that aspect. We have a 20, he's like 22, I think, in a 22-year-old agent in Chicago. I think he's doing 130 grand a month USD.
Wow.
Him and his partner,
Yeah. Wow, that's crazy.
And like, but he's putting himself in certain rooms. He's going in and doing it, and being able to see that aspect of like mindset. Then I start to look at myself. I'm like, yeah, fuck, I can turn it up a notch. Like it doesn't have to be that hard. Yeah. And again, it's like whatever story you tell yourself is the truth.
Yeah, man. If your circle doesn't inspire you, you're in the wrong circles.
Yeah. So I know I know you're trying to get the factual data in regards to what would be the best thing, but I think like with real estate investment in general, like any investment, I think whatever can get you the fastest return in the short amount of time is the best investment with the least amount of money.
Yeah, exactly. And I think a lot of the people they forego like the 8 months period compared to something that can give you 2 months return. Sure, you might take a couple of tens of thousands less, but you rather go that cost because okay, you don't know in the 8 months, hey, everything's different. Something might change up. So it's like a lot of people get clouded by that like money is so, it's like the driven. It's like the 100,000 is better than the 50,000, but sometimes the 50,000 is better during that time given what's going on. So I think it's all like how you perceive things and also understand the market as well given who you're working with.
And I think like there's a lot of people that I've read upon, they've bought 100 rental houses to realize rental houses are not the game.
Not the game, yeah.
Right? And then there's a lot of Section 8 that's happening in the States, but Section 8 is guaranteed income, right? And you're going and buying some of these houses for 30 grand. Yeah. Like 5 grand down, you're doing VTBs, things like that. It's all about how creative you can get. And if you can see the creativity with an asset, you're going to be able to maximize the performance on that. And that's like someone like Harp, he's been a master at that
100%,
because he's compounded it since 2006 2007, right? And he only focuses on that. He doesn't get distracted by certain things. So again, it really just does come down to again self-development and being able to be in that right circle and understand certain things, because a lot of people what I realized too is like, again, it's I think it's important to feel proud about yourself. And people will come in and they'll buy a rental house, be like, oh, I got a rental house and things like that. And and honestly, good for them. It's not easy, and it's a good start. At least it's a step in the right direction. But you're only going to find out if it was the right decision to go down this aspect of accumulating many rental houses once you've compounded at least 50 to 100 houses and being like, okay, now I understand that in a scalability sense, this didn't make sense. It's the same way that all the builders, the big builders, are pivoting to building CMAC, MLI select buildings now, 150 units, 200 units, 100 units. Because why the hell are they going to have 50 different sites, 100 different house sites going everywhere, where they can allocate their time on one, and their return is all, it's a little bit delayed, but their focus is all in one spot, right? And then they can run some houses on the side, but again, for them dealing with the service calls and all this stuff, like, their psychology starts to change, right? So I think that's where evolution comes in from. And as you're in something long enough, you start to optimize it much better.
Yeah, I think that what you just said at the end, I think when you're in something long enough, it's like the system itself like optimizes itself, because now you're seeing things and how to integrate certain things into certain when like loans are coming up, or even the people you're working with are like, actually, I think this system might work better. So it's like fine tuning things after that. So again, I think everybody has their own real estate, whether it's their, I don't know, a bakery shop, whether it's a restaurant. Everybody has their own investment side. It's 9 out of 10 times what you pour into it will be the return of investment. Unless you're just sinking in a ship and you want to sink with it, that's different, right? No one's going to save a sinking ship, right? It's like you gotta take the water out the ship.
Yeah,
literally,
100%.
you can't expect handouts, right? And that's the one thing I want to speak to you guys about was giving you guys team. I know we spoke about it before with the luxury homes. Now you guys are up to 23 agents that you guys have. How do you guys dictate in the growth of how many agents you guys want to assign under, like, the brokers that you guys have going on?
So there's two different aspects. One's Global Real Estate Masterminds, which is our community of agents, which is combined with John's side. We're over like 1,600 agents across North America, right? And some parts of the world. And then GSB and Associates, we have a residential division and a commercial division, and that consists of 23 agents across Canada, right?
Yeah.
With our team, it's everybody's tight-knit. And like we all know each other for a long time, and again, very hard for us to add new people, because it's like the way we're running everything is very, it's not like a traditional team, right? And again, communication and atmosphere and vibe really matters. It's like, would you allow anybody into your house? You wouldn't. Yeah. And it's the same thing into your business, right? So we're in a position where we're not looking to obviously add a bunch of agents and just to up the numbers and just to output sales. We're going down the direction of, like, within our team, we have equity in our assets, and our team is just not doing sales, but they're growing on a asset level too, and we're able to crowdfund our own money within instead of going out, right? And that's the direction that we're headed in this sense from the building that we bought, and we bought a mid-rise site in downtown as well. Just being able to understand that, hey, you'd rather go into business with the people that you know and you've already built businesses with, right? Yeah. So that's the culture within our team. And again, Calgary's further ahead in that sense, because obviously Grinder's been he's the one who started GSB and Associates, right? And since 2006, and so the compounding has happened there first, and Edmonton's catching on, and Vancouver's catching on, Kelowna's going to catch on, Toronto will catch on as well. So it's just coming in phases, and just take everything by stride.
Yeah, no, that's the one thing I feel like I see it with you guys, even in your social medias. It's like you guys have this tight-knit community, and it is so true. It's like when you let a stranger in a group, it can also rift that culture as well sometimes, because it just takes one bad apple to ruin the rest of the crop. You know what I mean? So it's like just having that understanding, but like, okay, let's not even chase numbers. Let's chase like that unity of what we got going on, and the numbers will correlate. They'll come by themselves. Yeah. Right.
Well, I wish they came by themselves. But to be honest, sometimes, like, and that's the thing about being a leader, is that being able to push the envelope on anything you do, right? Like, it's easy to sit there and, some days, like, you made a lot of money and whatnot, you have all this stuff going on, but you got to find a way to push the envelope. Like, how can I do something else that's different? And Grinder has this thinking, I have this thinking, my partners have this thinking, is where we want to do something in real estate that has never been done before. And we're fact checking our actual numbers on our side of, like, what's happening, what type of deals we're doing, how much our average agent is making, and we're trying to be in a position where where no other real estate team has gone, and that's our mentality, right? Again, you can only get there if you think in that sense. So that's what we're striving to be, and I think we're doing a really good job, like, you know. And there's certain 7-figure earners on our team in Calgary that have changed their lives, their families' lives, and things like that, right?
That's
right
insane,
in 1 year. So being able to witness that firsthand, it's beautiful, to be honest, like, you know. And one of our partners, Afak, he just closed on a $2.3 million property.
That's recently, right?
Yeah, he closed it himself, and like seeing the struggle and seeing all the ups and downs, and to see someone out of our group be able to go and do that for themselves at a young age, it's amazing, right? And so it tells you that, hey, like, you're headed in the right direction. So that's kind of what we look at. And again, whoever comes into our team, we want to change each other's lives, right? And that's the only thing. Like, to be honest, do you want to hang around someone that like is just there to just to be there and do nothing? Or would you rather be with someone that's gonna elevate your life and, you know, not only help you make money, help you grow as a person, make you happier, make you better, and be there as support? So,
you know, I don't think, but you know what, one thing, bro, I don't think people realize amount of time they waste on a day-to-day, bro. I don't think people realize. Because I caught myself doing this. You know, like, I'll be honest. Like, I remember one time I was in this fantasy group chat, right?
Yeah.
Bro, this has been going on for like hours and hours and hours and hours, right? And then I sat back. I'm like, the amount of messages that went through this to just chat in this last just couple hours, bro. Now imagine, like, you put yourself around people that have the same energy but towards a business, something, anything. I don't care what it is. Something good gotta come out of it.
Yeah,
like, it's
100%.
anything, right? So it's like, I don't think people realize how much allocation of time and wasting we do on a day-to-day, bro. And buying back time is it's not like we're earning X amount of money and we're sitting back doing nothing. It's not about that. It's understanding where you allocate your time. That's the way you buy back time.
100%.
You
Yeah, on a day-to-day basis, like, your time is your currency, right?
Yeah.
So, like, you can tell a lot about a person on how they spend their time, and that's all it is. Like, I find myself in a position now that all I think about is this, you know. And like, even like, I'll come, like I was telling you guys, I come to the office on Sunday and I'll like go through certain aspects with AI and whatnot, what's happening. And, you know, I'm not great at everything. I'm not the smartest person. There's a lot of things that I need to fix, right? But at the end of the day, I'm trying to put as many lines in the water as I can. And something's going to give and something's going to hit. And eventually there'll be a point in my life where I'll look back and be like, okay, there's something that I was able to catch on to that has elevated my life on a whole different level. And the thing is that you just don't want to elevate it for yourself. You want to elevate for the people around you as well, right?
So true. And you know, another thing I want to talk about to you is, you know, like in the early 20s, I think at least all communities, not even our community, bro. I think overall everybody in the communities face this type of pressure is balancing the pressure that we put on ourselves compared to how our parents perceive us as well. Because I guess certain cultural norms are a little bit more lenient, but ours is kind of rigorous, you know. Like, success is such a prominent thing where our parents have built freaking everything for us, right? Everything for us to succeed. How do you balance that, man, with your parents understanding? Because like, a lot of people can't talk to their parents, bro.
Yeah.
Like, you see this struggle a lot where they're not able to open up to them on a level where, like, okay, I can sit down with my dad, be like, your dad, like, I'm struggling right now, but like, I really need your help, or whatever it is, like, to figure something out, like, be there. Because like, man, that's the biggest encouragement you can get, is having your parents by your side.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
100%.
saying? Like, obviously you have to put the work in as well to showcase them that, like, hey, I am doing something. You can't be just lazy as well and be like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, you know, it's two different things.
I think you have to question everything and be critical of everything, right? Like, if your parents aren't living the life that you want, you can't look at them for answers that are going to try to get you to where they have never been, right? At the end of the day, my parents are my rock, right? Like, they've been there for me. Any decisions I want to make, like, they're there for me. But there's certain aspects where if I was to tell my dad or my mom, like, I'm going to do this, they may not say it, but they'll second question or like second guess it and things like that. And I think in our community, it's not like, and I want to say this in the best way possible, you always have to have respect for your parents, but you can't have too much respect where you start to second guess yourself and cloud your judgment, right? Because like, if I was to have a kid and now I look back, I'm like, I want my kid to be able to be confident enough to take a shot at anything.
Bro, that's so key what you just said.
Right?
There. It's like overly. It's like you're afraid to take opportunities.
Yeah,
When
and
you get
when you're
overly
told, you're like,
respect
oh, you don't do this, or you're not doing that, and you're consistently talked to that way, it just builds the wrong mindset in that standpoint, right? And like even with school, like how school bring us up, like they don't teach us that failure is good. They punish us with failure, and they don't give us enough tries to keep trying again to be able to overcome the failure. Because, for example, like people talk to me and they're like, oh, like you seem like a smart person, and you know so many advanced things, and you pay attention to certain aspects. But like I was a complete dumbass in school, right? And I couldn't even pass school. I had all D's and barely C's sometimes. But the thing is that system just didn't work for me. And being, even with our parents, like in our community at first, it was so big on like, go to school, do this, do that. Yeah. Man, like AI is gonna wipe out a lot of the jobs, a lot of the things that, like I'm able to outperform accountants.
That's why I dropped out of CPA.
The information that I have and that what I can do, I can outperform certain accountants that have CPAs, right? There's a simple thing I was doing with the insurance. My fiance got a car, and the insurance lady like quoted us like $5,600 for the year, right? And I'm like, this can't be right, man. I'm like, so I go into, I'm like on OpenAI or the ChatGPT at that time, and I go in and I put in, I'm like, I let it know what I'm doing. I'm like, this is what I'm doing. This is the car. This is the bill of sale. I feed all the information into it, and then I'm like, okay, I'm on the I'm on the phone with the insurance people, and this is the quote that they gave me. Then it started saying, okay, and I was like, how do I bring the insurance quote down without jeopardizing my policy? So then when I went and put it in, it told me to take off certain aspects. It told me to adjust certain things. I think the comprehensive and the liability, the whatever. There's a bunch of different whatnot, right? And the liability stayed the same, but I think it was like the what do they call it when you get into an accident? Then there's a deductible. Yeah, so it started telling me to adjust the deductibles and a few other things. Regardless, like I was on the phone with the lady. She got it down to like $3,800 by herself, right? Wow. And I'm like, I need it to be down more. Yeah. And then she's like, I can't do more. And then I pushed the AI even more a little bit, and it told me a couple other things, and then boom, she's like, okay, yeah, it's coming back at 3,106. Yeah. So when I started realizing, I'm like, fuck, I'm like, man, this is like, I'm like, I asked the lady, I'm like, how am I doing your job better than you? And I'm like, what the hell is going on? But again, like, I think majority of the things that we were taught to believe are fucking lies, and they're not true. And the world is changing in a direction that nobody knows where it's going. So it's important to keep an open mind and not be boxed in. So with our parents and, as we grew up in school, I think we were taught to be boxed in. We're taught to, get a degree, get a job, save up for retirement, have kids, all this stuff. Fuck that shit, in my opinion.
I think, it's crazy how you say that, because I'm just like, man, it's so interesting how like people will shame the ones that are trying to pursue their own route and trying to build their own and trying to learn everything. Yeah. And then this is not a backlash to the ones that are pursuing the 9 to 5. If you like your 9 to 5, by all means. But it's crazy how like when you're trying to teach yourself with everything, because I'm a similar route, right? I was like, well, I want to build my own businesses, start a second year, whatever. And then I was similar route. I was like, well, I didn't get grades and all that shit. But it's like crazy, man. It's just like people start in a sense of belittling, in a sense of like, yo, what are you doing exactly? Yeah. It's just, but it's like same thing. Like you're learning about AI, you're learning how to create businesses, you're trying to do this and that, everything by yourself, right? You're trying to pursue everything, and like they put such a spotlight on the system. Yeah. Where like if you're not in the system, then you're worthless.
Yeah. I mean, your dreams are meant to be crazy for other people. Yeah. Your dreams are meant to be like, oh, those people's dreams are crazy. You know what I mean? Because that's why you're in the position you're in, and that's the position they're in.
100%. And I think like you just can't give a shit about anything. To be honest, nothing else really matters, right? At the end of the day, I what my biggest fear is, looking back, is that if I was like, I should have shot when I had the chance. And I didn't. And I'm like, and that's my biggest fucking fear. to be honest. And that's in everything in life, right? Like that goes down to, that could be like, whether it's investing into a business, getting married, having kids, whatever the situation is. I want to look back and be like, man, like where I had the opportunity to make a move and grow my life, I did it to the best of my abilities. And that's it. I think like even with jobs and things like that, and it's easy to, you know, and like you said, you don't want to offend anyone, but like our time is the most valuable thing. When our time gets a monetary value put on it, then I think you're in the wrong position.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, some people enjoy it, some people don't, but I think it's waking up to the fact that, like, is this the life you want to live?
Because how can I look at a human being and be like, yeah, your time's worth $20 an hour?
Yeah, man.
That's crazy. That's
right?
with the taxes?
Yeah. You know, it's actually an interesting fact that I actually kind of realizing it now, what you just said. When it comes to our parents, I think what you kind of hit on the head was, it's like, how are you expecting them to envision a life that you haven't, you know, put yourself in a position to be in?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like, I used to have this battle with my dad all the time. It's like me and him, we always butt heads because he's more on the safer side.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Dad, just take a risk, man. Who cares? Like, it's all good. Like, we'll make it back. Like, I'm hardworking. Like, it's all good. But for him, it's that safety, you know? And that got embedded in my head.
Fear.
Yeah. So that got embedded in my head. And that's why it took me so long to reverse that. I'm like, so what if we fail, you know? I think our human psychology is such a integral part of how we become successful, or even kind of perceive what success is, because success can be perceived in different ways, right? Whether it's monetary, whether it's, you know, I got a family, I got kids, or I got a healthy lifestyle, whatever it is. Success is different to everybody, but I think it's breaking the shackles of understanding another individual and being okay with it, but also understanding your own goal as well. Like, okay, I don't have to bash on you to be like, okay, I gotta pursue my path.
100%.
Or I tell people, showcase it. Numbers don't lie.
Yeah.
If someone's doubting your ability, you show it. How can they doubt it afterwards? So that's the main thing that always kind of made me push myself. If someone's doubting you, or my dad's doubting me, or your dad, look, it's been a couple of years. This is what happened. So like, yeah. So it's like you gotta showcase it to a certain extent, because our parents do come from a, as you said, like more safety net.
Yeah.
Because they've done so much in life, though.
Yeah. And I think like any negative thought or self sabotaging voice in your head it was put there, right?
Yeah.
So the thing is that now, unfortunately, and you can't blame our parents. They didn't have the same education that we did in regards to access to information to be able to be better, right? So when we have kids, we're gonna be raising them a lot different, and they did the best that they could with what the information they had, and they seen such a drastic shift of lifestyle and everything from where they came from to where they are now. But to be able to get out of that box and I don't blame them either. Like they were also taught that way. Like they got their ass whooped when they were kids, and you know, and they only did what they were taught to, you know. So but now moving forward, like our generation's going to be a lot more different. We're more collaborative, we're more forward thinking. Even with these weddings, man, like I think like I see, and I know a lot of people getting married and, you know, things like this. I see how it's done. Truly, if you like, I think that whole phase is going to be, this is the last generation. Like people are like, we're not going to be throwing our kids to those type of weddings. Nope. We're not going to be spending $250,000 for a wedding, $150,000 for a wedding, 7 days long. It's not going to go down that aspect, because we're going to be better equipped with certain knowledge. And that's all it is. It's an evolution of time. And you know, you can't judge the process either. It is what it is. That's what it is.
You know, one thing that you kind of hit on the head as well is collaboration, bro.
Yeah.
You know, that word gets lost a lot of times in a circle, not even a circle, in what you achieve in life.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times it's just like, nah, it's me. But thing is, you're not going to achieve anything. Because like, if we were to come on here, we're like, nah, that podcast sucks. I want everybody to succeed.
Yeah.
Because overall, if a podcast industry is succeeding, I'm succeeding. Yeah. If the restaurant industry I'm in is succeeding, they're succeeding. That doesn't mean I bash the other guy that's doing the restaurant. It's like the collaborative effort got to be within, and that you're only going to hate because you're not doing it.
Yeah. And you need competition, to be honest, right? Like you need to be competitive. I'm a very competitive person. I've been in sports my entire life, right? So that aspect of me is always there, but you need like this is the jungle, right? This is the animal kingdom at the end of the day, and like whether when you go to Dubai and you see all the towers with the names on them, it's people marking their territories, right? And this is what it is. And
with the number plates.
You go into the gym, and sometimes there's the biggest dudes in there. They're trying to showcase something. It's all the animal kingdom, and this is like the better you can equip yourself with the information and be able to execute on this pathway, I think the better off you are. But again, everything is a process. Everything is changing, and not everything's gonna be perfect. But
But then collaboratively, you can do so much more, and that's what you guys probably seen as well within the industry that you guys.
Yeah, but it takes time, right? Like, cause like it's hard to say on social media, but there's so many digs and so many messages being sent indirectly at all times, and then you know what, you got to learn how to love it.
Recently that whole thing happened with I saw a Grinder story that some guy was posting, what was it, bro?
About his Ferraris and stuff, right?
Yeah. I think he was posting his on his page or something like that.
No. So this guy was just talking smack, right? And about Grinder, he's like, oh, don't post what you don't have anymore or whatever, because Grinder sold a couple of Ferraris, right? Yeah. And things like that. But at the end, it's like you look at everything, and if you're looking to wake up and cause harm in other people's lives or a negative output in other people's lives, you're not doing the right thing.
This is a shitty way to live, bro.
Yeah, and you have too much fucking time on your hands, to be honest, right? So that's all it was, and Grinder's not a type of person to it's very like a lot of people don't know him in that sense, but if you've ever met him, you'll realize how big his heart is, right? And the last thing he would want to ever do is negatively impact people. But at the end of the day, man, some people need to be taught a lesson, and that's
it's so true, man. Yeah. Nowadays, it's like we're too lenient, but like, nah, leave them alone. Sometimes, they need that ass.
And bro, and just to say the least, some people you just don't want to play with, bro. And the guy played with the wrong motherfucker, bro. That's it.
It's so true, though, man. It's like you fuck around, you find out, bro.
That's it,
That's
bro.
how the life goes. So, but nah, man, these conversations are like appreciative. Reason why, because like even throughout this conversation, man, like I learned certain things. This is the beautiful thing about it too. It's like no matter what circles you're in, when you look back and even internalizing certain conversations you have, it's like, oh wow, okay, I never thought of certain things that way until until you don't put yourself in the circles again. Like it's like it seems so redundant, but it's such a simple thing too at the same time. It's so simple, but people don't do it though. You know?
100%. And the biggest thing, and what I've realized about myself as well, is when you're going through the day and you have 100 different output, like not 100 but millions of different outputs getting put into your brain, right? And sports and what's happening with this celebrity, news, all this shit. Eventually it blocks your mind from thinking about what's actually important, right? So then that's where you start to look at everything as a distraction, and you start to clear your plate, and you're like, okay, instead of me fucking scrolling on TikTok or Instagram for 2 hours, I'm gonna spend that time elsewhere. I'm gonna go to the gym, I'm gonna go do this, or I'm gonna spend it in my business. You start to realize these things, and you start to disassociate yourself from a lot of things. Even for me, I stopped watching hockey, to be honest, because I'm I love hockey, I love watching it. I used to love watching it, but now it's man, my life is so interesting, and I'm not saying it's I'm living the fucking craziest life, but I'm so invested into my life on how to make my operations better, how to make my life better, my business better, my partnerships better. That's what's getting me up every single day, and I don't want to look at elsewhere. I'm so, it's I'm building my own game, it's like a GTA character.
It is, bro.
Right? And even going to the gym, being able to upgrade your body, and be able to look different and improve your mind. It's all, I think that's the beauty about life. And I think we have a...
Do you think that it's to the point where you're not able to switch off?
I wouldn't say so.
Obsessed with it.
Well, again, is there really a switch off? I don't know.
I don't think so.
I don't think do you need a switch off? Maybe not. I think the line is gonna come when I have kids, right?
Exactly.
And it's not just the kids; it's the spouse as well. You need to make sure that you're investing the right amount of time into those people, because they're gonna be the ones that you're gonna spend the rest of your life with.
I was gonna just touch upon that. Obviously, you're engaged now with your fiance, and how do you balance that though, man? Learning that you have an ambition, but then your other ambition is like, yo, sometime you gotta chill, like take some time off, you gotta chill with me. How do you balance that? Because a lot of people don't understand it, because they're in relationships where the understanding between the partners, you know, because like
I think I still don't understand that a little bit, to be honest. And she would probably say I don't, right? But and she's not wrong in that sense. But it's not about getting everything right. It's just moving in the direction together, right? Mm-hmm. And now, like we were talking before the podcast, in my 20s, now I'm looking back, like I really didn't have no idea what the fuck I was doing. Now I have a lot better idea of what direction I'm going to, and my skill set's a lot better, right? And I operate a lot better. My mindset's a lot better. So now I'm looking at everything a little bit different. Now I'm going to, like, when I get married and things like that, I'm going to be operating a lot smarter, more efficient. I'm not going to be wasting more time. And these things, as life kind of progresses, you can't play 2-3 games of ball hockey every Thursday, Friday, or whatever the case is. You sometimes can't spend that time and going out to the bars and whatnot, so you sacrifice on those times and allocate it elsewhere, right? Mm-hmm. And those are the things that I learned in my 20s as I got older that are getting readjusted. And now I look forward to having kids, spending time with my family, and creating a life that I've always dreamed of. And like you see, like like one day I want to be on acreage and I want to have like 3-4 dogs running around, have my kids, whatever. I don't know, like or go travel somewhere with the family and being able to invest into human beings that are gonna, who knows what they could do in the world when they grow up. So I think I'm really looking forward to that stage of my life. But at the same time, if you think there's going to be a balance, there's not. And it's very important that you find someone that understands that aspect. But at the same time, I think communication matters a lot. If you are able to communicate these things, and like our parents, for example, my dad used to go for 2-3 months at a time. Yeah, he's doing crazy paper, but like going for 2-3 months at a time, you try to do that now, there's no way.
No chance.
Right? And spending that much time away from your kids. I remember the first time we went to India in 2004, I think my sister was 3. We went for like 3-4 months. We come back, my dad picked us up from the airport. My sister got scared. She didn't even recognize who he was. So things like that, like they had to make sacrifices. So now I look forward to readjusting and being like, when I have kids, I'm going to spend the most amount of time possible. That's why I situated my 20s the way I did, to hopefully be smart enough in my 30s to still operate even better and output even better than I did in my 20s, but also allocate my time where I want to in that sense.
Man. That's beautifully put, man. Like as we're kind of wrapping up this podcast, man, what's the one thing you guys are looking forward to when it comes to overall everything, whether it's you guys' company, working with Gurinder? What's inspiring you guys to keep going every day? Because like, you get to a certain level of success, and you're like I'm good. I can cruise here, and I can have a happy life. But for you guys, it seems like you guys want even more. And as what you said, you want to do something that's never been done before. Yeah. Right? Like, what is it that you guys are driven by that's different, or that allows you to tap into like the next level?
Yeah, I think it's just the fear of being mediocre. Like I don't want to anything. Like, if you're going to do something, do it to the best of your abilities, right? And if I'm going to go into something, I always want to be the best. Like, that's my mentality. I want to be the greatest to ever do it. And whether I end up doing it or not, I don't know. We'll find out when the book's done, But as I'm in this pursuit, that's the mindset. Because if I start to look at monetary-wise, I can chill. And you start to, when I watched that 50 Cent video today, and he was talking about, he's like the guy that's running around on that victory lap. He's fucked basically, right? And when you're on that victory lap, that's when your time's over. And I don't ever want to be on that. I always want to be in a forever pursuit, because there is no end game in this.
There isn't,
Truly, there isn't. But then you start to teeter things off with children and with your spouse, trying to create that life. So that's kind of where it comes into a balance, and eventually maybe my business gets to a point where I never have to spend time as much time as I do in it now, and that's when I'll pour into the kids as much as possible and be like, like how am I going to make them even better businessmen than me? And even like in my mindset is like, when I'm in the gym, I have there's there's kids that are younger than me, 18, 19 years old, that sometimes work out with us, and I look at them, I'm like, fuck, man, like I have the capability, and this is not from an egotistical standpoint, just off of experience. I can tell them something right now for them to be 100 times better than I am at 30, when they get to 30.
And it's such a powerful thing too,
right? And when you start to think about aspects like that, then you start to realize like you can really, doesn't matter, you just have to be aware of what's happening, but you can really make a big impact on this stuff. So that type of stuff keeps us going, right? And there's not going to be an end goal like, maybe Grinder goes and one day he just decides to never post on Instagram ever again and just ride off into the sunset, and one of us are taking the reins, right? That's we'll find out what it'll be, but at the end of the day, we always want to be the best. We want to make sure that we push the envelope on anything we do. So
no, that's beautifully said, bro. I think even the conversation that we have is like, you know, like you probably had this conversation with your friends or even Grinder or anybody. Like we have these things that we talk about is simple but complex at the same time.
Yeah, there's a lot of experience and thought process and life that goes behind these simple answers.
Exactly. It's like the complexity gets like unraveled as you're progressing through life. Yeah. And I think people that try to, you know, unravel it in one time, it never works out. No. You know, that's what the one thing that we always try to tell people is like, we as man, there's so much stuff that we got going on. It's like simplifying and understanding, as you said, like feeling is okay, and understand not knowing at certain time, like, man, where am I going to be tomorrow? Like
100%.
Not knowing is okay, but being there and knowing that, I ain't going to do shit about it, that's a different thing.
100%. Yeah.
So,
yeah,
man. Other than that, it's like any message you want to leave to the audience, man, you can look directly in that camera. Any message, or, you know, what do you want from your life, man? Is there a legacy you want to leave behind? Like, what is it that you want to leave a message for the people that are watching this? Like, a message they want to get from this?
I think if I was to tell anybody, like, if you're second guessing yourself right now, just fucking do it. Like, that's the only thing, you know, and everything works out. Like, if you think honestly in the aspect of like everything's going to work out for you, it fucking will. And that's the only direction. Cause if like I tell anybody around me, like, you know, they want to, if they have any thought process or they want to open up a business or do anything that's going to better their lives, like, go for it. That's it. Yeah. Sitting on the sidelines, you're never gonna see any growth. You're never gonna see any change. So, that's how I look at things, right? And time is ticking, man. Like we don't know how long we have left. And,
it's so true, man. You can be broke with money, but don't be broke with your mentality.
100%.
Don't be broke both ways. You know? So as long as you have the one, other will pick back up. So
100%, bro. 100%.
Other than that, man, thank you for coming on, man.
I appreciate you guys.
It's been a pleasure. So. You know, hopefully somebody, people that watch it, we talk about it all the time. And when we started this podcast, bro, it's like we used to think, like, ain't no one gonna watch this. Yeah. But then the more I thought about it, man, people gonna watch it. And then we had YouTube videos where people watch, like, there's 13K people watch the podcast. I'm like, damn, 13K people watch this? Ain't no way.
Yeah, look at Joe Rogan, bro. Like, fucking the guys, he just got high, used to just do podcasts with his buddies.
Literally.
Signed $100 fucking million deal. I don't know, bro.
Was it Spotify? Spotify, right? Yeah, insane,
so,
man.
You never know what can happen,
exactly,
man.
Bro. It's that instinct. It's like that 100th episode, 101, it will get you that $100 million deal, bro.
Yeah, I do want to say one thing, too, is that I think the big aspect, and I'm not saying this in a light of me being a good person. I'm still working on myself, right? But I think being genuine goes a long way. And that's one thing I think in the game we miss a lot, like, because a lot of people are trying to portray themselves to be something that they're truly not. And I think if you are genuine enough, they can feel that energy, whether it's through a lens, in person, whatever it is, right? Because it's all a frequency. So I think authenticity is the highest frequency we can live in, and as long as you can live authentic to yourself, I think you'll go really far.
Hey, I couldn't say any better. So on that note, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. We'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.